Now, Riker, come on up here. Come up here. We're getting a yellow light on this. Is the battery level okay? Have a seat.
Is it still green and yellow or yellow?
It's green and yellow. So is it okay? Now, this is Dave, also known as Riker, also known as Davey Train. Give him a big hand. Riker likes to seduce women on AOL using the photo personal. So,
right. Could somebody bring? I have a white notebook back there. Could somebody bring that up for me, please?
Riker's going to talk to you about how to seduce women online using AOL. First of all, before we go any further, and you don't need the notes to answer this one, why AOL? Why not just use Match.com or you know, any of those other online services?
Well, actually, that's a really good question. And Lou's not going to be here, right?
No, Louis is not going to be here.
There's several different ways you can meet women online.
Not with people from the DOJ. He wouldn't be here anyway.
There's several different means by which you can meet people and meet women online. Some of them have been in existence for a number of years. AOL has many advantages. AOL being, it stands for America Online. It doesn't mean all overweight ladies, which is a problem, and we'll get to that. AOL has the advantages of, last time I was told about this, I believe over 50% of the people that subscribe to AOL are women. Okay, it is very easy to use. People that aren't very technically savvy, it's very easy for them to get a computer, to set it up, and to have America Online running. And the interface is set up so that you don't have to be a technical expert to navigate yourself around.
You can be a chimp and do it.
Right. So there's a lot of advantages to using America Online. Plus it has the means by which you can, in some cases, see pictures, see photos of different people that are online before you spend any time talking to them or writing emails to
Now,
them.
may I ask a question? Why would it be important to see what these online ladies look for? You're not going to tell me there's some lardifinous, humongous gargantuzoids hanging out there hiding behind a computer.
Yes, there are. There's quite a few of them. I mean, there's attractive and unattractive people in any walk of life. But you're going to get, let's face it, a lot of women that are out there that are getting hit on, for lack of a better word, a lot, they don't need another means by which to meet men. They have this selection from which to choose. They walk up to them all day long and they say cute things like, whoa, you look really hot. Yeah, that works. In America Online, you are going to get a larger percentage of women that are probably not very attractive. But there are some incredibly attractive women that are on there and other services. There's another guy, Brosol, who uses methods, some of which I'll talk about, and he's met some very, very beautiful women online. He has it down to
my friend who's a DA is getting married to a very lovely woman, very, very sweet, very good looking, who he met on AOL, using my stuff. He doesn't want me to meet her, though. He's kind of afraid. I said, look, just say I'm a family friend and never tell her what I do. And 10 years from now, when you're sitting with your kids and she turns to you and says, Dave, what does Ross really do? Just go, I don't know. I never really bothered to ask. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me back up for a minute if I can, because Lou's not going to be here. Let me talk about online stuff in general and AOL in particular.
I would really like to do it as much as possible on AOL in particular.
Okay.
What you do.
Well, let me back up. The real quick thing. Sometimes I think it's good for a lot of guys to just go start using these skills, go do fresh walk-ups or warm walk-ups as much as possible, okay? But for a lot of guys, their development of these skills, if they have such a problem with, before meeting women and walking up to them, you can have somebody who's pretty skilled with these techniques, but yet there's some issue with meeting new women, okay, that gets in their way. But one nice thing about using online services is it separates you from that to a degree. You don't have to go through that trauma that you used to have about walking up to somebody fresh. You could sit in the comfort of your own home, and you could sit there and craft patterns and write things and everything else. So it's a little easier to ease into using these skills in that manner. Okay, and AOL makes it such. Now there's been discussion, what used to be talked about by Lou was a service called Match.com, which I'll talk about briefly. It's something I call a static way to meet women. Basically, you go into Match.com and you create a profile of yourself. You describe yourself and who you are, and you say how old you are and your height and weight, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you post that profile there. You can then do a search against other profiles of women and see what they've written about themselves and see what qualities they've listed about themselves. And then there's a way to do an anonymous mailing to them, which is you send mail through Match.com and it goes to them and then it comes back to you, etc. There's advantages to this, but there's more disadvantages anymore. It takes a lot of time, okay? And it's what I call a static service, meaning you're not directly interacting with them. They send you an email, you read it, you go through, you write something, you send it to them. You wait 3 or 4 days for their response. You're not getting any feedback about what's going on, okay? So it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And there's a lot of fear factor involved. There's women that'll want to send, well, let's send 12 emails back and forth before I feel comfortable giving you my phone number. I mean, it's, you know, you're going to deal with a lot of fearful women. So America Online is a lot better.
Let's jump to that. Before we do, talk about how well have you personally done with AOL?
I'm a very busy guy, but even with that, I've met a few, something like 6 or 8 during the past year.
How many of those have you?
At least half.
At least half?
With not a lot
now,
of time.
Joe, your friend Joe P., what was his record? He got a
like
girl,
less than 2 hours.
Less than 2 hours from talking to her on AOL. She was over at his house doing
right.
it. But he punched in the keywords freak and what?
He did a search on the keywords.
He did a search for the keywords freak and what else?
Yeah, I can't remember. Freak
and suck
or something like that, yeah. He didn't put 900 line or anything like that. Should have been a whole other deal. A couple things about America Online real quick, okay? Like I said, it's very easy to use. It doesn't cost you a lot of money, and you can get on there. And let me go through a couple things real quick. First off, a story. I mean, typically, this is all too common for guys that use these sort of techniques. I found a photo of somebody on there that appeared desirable, and she had an interesting profile.
So they have a section of AOL called Photo Personal. So
right.
You can browse through it by city. You put in your characteristics, women 18 through 35, you know, what city you're looking for, and you can put in other search parameters like
bisexual,
athlete,
nymphomaniac, gourmet cooks, heiresses with oral fetishes. Right. Anyway, that's all. But I'm not picky. Anyway, anyway. So I had seen her profile, and I found out that she was online. I started talking to her through one of the means, which I'll get to in a second. Start talking to her online for a matter of like 40 minutes. And she was very interested in what I was saying. Just sat there, and you get responses like, oh my God, I have to know you. Are you sure you're not one of my friends and you're talking to me in disguise? Because I'm saying things that are, and really inquiring about her and using some of these techniques to bring these things back to her. She was just fascinated. After about 45 minutes, I said, geez, it's really a shame with just typing in here because it's really hard to connect with somebody on a deeper level when you're just typing into a little window. It would really be nice to talk. She says, call me right now, and here's the phone number. And I spoke to her that night, and we met the next night. And long story short, between time online and discussing things with her over coffee, it was probably a total of 6 hours before we ended up sleeping together.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. It's a long time. A lot of money. I think I bought her like 2 cups of coffee. That's horrible. I'm sorry. I won't do that anymore. Anyway, about America Online. A couple things real quick. When you get an America Online account, there's one thing you have to do as soon as you get on there, which is if you don't want to get bombarded with a bunch of junk mail, there's a keyword you need to use. It's called marketing preferences. As soon as you get an AOL account, go to keyword marketing preferences and turn everything off. If you don't, they consider you advertising fodder, and they will send you everything in the mail, on the phone, and at home. So turn everything off.
And let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Forgive me. I've noticed that sometimes women use certain descriptive terms, like they say proportionate. What does that really mean? What does proportionate mean? Fat. How about all the right curves? What does that mean?
Very fat. Fat with even more fat in certain
How
areas.
about lovable? What does lovable mean?
I hope you own a minivan because I won't fit in it.
There are some. How about if she says heavy?
That means you'll need a Humvee to take me home.
I'm just warning you guys. Some of the descriptions are not honest.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, there's a couple important aspects to this. First, you have to make yourself available, and you have to create a presence for yourself on the service. And there's two ways to do that. In America Online, they have something called a personal profile. This is where, using text only, you create a profile of who and what you are. And you put your name and stuff in there. And there's typical things where they ask, what's your occupation? What kind of computer do you use? Da, 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 da. This is an opportunity to just start using some of these skills. What do most guys do? They put down their occupation. They say, you know, I do this. I'm a program manager. I'm a doctor, whatever. As much as possible, when you write your profile describing who you are, you don't want to give that much content information. You want to give them process information. Again, you don't want to get judged by the critical factor. You want to talk about, you know, what is it you like to do? I really enjoy connecting with people. You know, there's certain people that you feel like you've known forever or were meant to know them. With me, you know, I think that's really what counts in life. And you just start feeding them process information, even in your own profile. So you have to create that for yourself. A couple little tricks about what to do with a profile. A lot of times what women will do is there's a means by which you can search profiles online. So a woman will go on there, maybe she wants to meet a guy. And she'll put in keywords, maybe Los Angeles being a keyword, another keyword being the word doctor, another keyword being the word lawyer. So what do? I put down, you know, I'm a program manager, parenthesis, not a doctor or lawyer.
I put in mine, entrepreneur, but doing better than most any doctor or lawyer.
Exactly. If you know friends that are involved in speech selection and they're online, you can look up their profiles to get examples. There's another way to create your own online presence, and that's through a means by which we call photo personals. Now, we'll get to that in a minute when it comes to finding women, but if you're a reasonably attractive guy, you can put a photo personal ad in.
That's most of you out.
You go to I'm better standing up. You go to keyword photo personals.
There's a lighting marker that you want to go by, so stand in front of the chair.
There's a keyword photo personals that you type in, and it'll bring, and AOL is pretty idiot proof. I mean, it's set up for people, anybody, to know how to, that doesn't have computer skills, so that they know how to do what they need to do to get things done. You put in photo personals, and it takes you through a step-by-step process where, again, you create a profile of yourself and you submit an electronic photograph and they put an ad up for you, okay? And women can cruise through that, they can read your ad, they can see a picture of your face and decide whether or not that they want to respond. Again, you get more chances in here as opposed to the regular profile. In this profile, you have more of a chance to put in a lot of text and a lot of descriptive stuff. And this is where you really get into process language. Don't sit there and say, you know, I'm this, here's my car, here's my job, or whatever. There's things you can do, and I'll tell you the one thing that's got me more responses than anything. There's a frame, and I don't know if Mark said it explicitly, this aspect of you know, beauty is really a genetic defect, and you really shouldn't think less of a woman who happens to have had the DNA crapshoot come up so that she's beautiful. Well, somebody framed this once and said, beauty is an accident, being a bitch is a choice. Okay? Just because somebody is beautiful does not give them an excuse to treat you poorly. Now, you don't want to say in your thing, beauty's an accident, being a bitch is a choice. But you could put in something like,
being a bitch is an art.
You know, beauty is an accident. People ask me what I'm looking for in a woman. I find that beauty is an accident. Attitude is a choice. And what's more important than just how somebody looks is their energy and the way they interact with other people and the way that they connect with them. And as long as you are a slim, svelte, and attractive female, I would really like to get the chance to hook up with you, okay? You want to frame it that, look, just because you're beautiful, I'm not going to put up with your stuff, but I am really only interested in someone that's attractive. And the slim, svelte thing is an important qualifier to get in there, because if you don't, it's going to be like Jenny Craig recruitment material, because they're going to be all over you, okay? But that is something you definitely want to put in there. Put in as much process language as you can. Look up my ad. I'm also in Photo Personals under the same handle that I gave you earlier, same screen name. Pardon me?
How do you spell it?
Ask me later when we're off tape.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem. Now, finding them. How do you find them? You've made yourself available now because you have a profile and you have a photo personal up there. Now, one of the things you can do is there is a window or a menu command in AOL called Get Member Profile or Search for Members or something like that. You could type in, search for members in the find area and it'll bring up a window. It's very easy to find this stuff. You can put down criteria and words. Let's say you want to find women in San Diego that contain the word dancer in their profile. And it'll give you a list. And you can also say, I only want to see a list of those women that are already online. Okay, and it'll bring up a list of women online in Los Angeles that have the word dancer in their profile. You can use that method. But again, it's a crapshoot because you don't know what they look like. And if that's important to you, you want to move on and use another means. That means is something called photo personals, and this is a wonderful way to find them. Once again, you go in and you look for something called photo personals, you add that keyword in. This brings up a list of criteria that you can search for. You can search for women between the ages of 20 to 25, 26 to 30, 31 to 35. You want ones in the Los Angeles area. You want ones that are women seeking men, and you want ones that are, white, Asian, black, or whatever, you don't care. You click on there and boom, up comes a list. Typically, for example, in the San Diego area, those criteria alone, you'll get a list of about 100 women. And all their pictures are in there. Okay. Now there's some that, it looks like the bad end of some biology experiment.
They really look
There's
boring,
some, right, there's some. But there's some that are moderately attractive. There's some that are just absolutely gorgeous. They're really stunning, okay? And they're there online at different times. And they put an ad up now. So they're America Online members. So now what do? Well, what is the typical, we define AFC. AFC is average frustrated chump. What does the typical AFC do? The typical AFC then writes an email saying, hi, I saw your picture, you look really cute and I want to meet you. You don't do that. The reason being is if they're even moderately attractive, if they're anything other than a horribly overweight person from some third world country or something, they're going to get bombarded with email from every guy under the sun. So don't do that. That's not what you do. You find somebody that you're interested in, okay? You make a note of what their screen name is, all right? That's the key. That's the hook. And what you can do, you can even bookmark their little profile. You can put in something called favorites. Look under the keyword favorites so that you can click and instantly have their profile come up. Here's what you do. You take their screen name and you add it to something called a buddy list. What a buddy list is, it's a little list, a little window that you put all your friends' screen names on there. This allows you to know whenever any of your friends log in. If I'm logged in and Ross comes in, I see, here comes Zeros or whatever his thing is. I can see my friends in there. You create a little category called Sargy Females, and you put in 10 or 20 screen names of females that you think are attractive that you'd like to talk to. So you're there, you're on America Online, and all of a sudden you see in your buddy list, boom, one of them just logged in. Okay? Now she's probably going through her inbox, which is deluged with all these emails from losers. Okay? All these AFCs. I have a really cool car, and I do this, and I'm really exciting, and my mommy says I'm a nice guy. Now that the medication is better balanced for my lifestyle, let's meet. So you don't want to deal with that. What you do is, you send them something called an instant message, okay? And now what this is AOL is nice because you have the means by which you can see static information, like their profile, and you can exchange dynamic and real-time information, which means you can talk to them, okay? Now while she's reading her email, you select her screen name in your buddy list, and you send them an instant message. This pops up as a separate window, and this allows you to interact with them in real time. You type something to them, they type something back to you, okay? Now, the one thing about AOL and on the internet are there is a lot of crazy freakazoids out there, guys. I've talked to women that I've become much better friends with after a while that said they've been online and they've gotten instant messages that just popped up and said, phone sex? Seriously. I had one true story. One night I'm online cruising for women and I get one that pops up and says, are you looking to get a blowjob? Before I responded, I copied the screen name and did a lookup. It was a guy.
Oh, shit.
So, and I says, and I responded, I says, yes, I am, but not really from you. Thank you. You know, and so there's some strange people out there.
Sorry, Zach.
So send them an instant message, okay? Now, the one thing, because there are all these crazies on there that'll say anything or do anything, you really have to start from a place of comfort with them. You have to let them know that you're not some sort of freakazoid or some stalker or something like that. But you still want to be intriguing. A good way to start out is to say something like, just type in something like, are you just fooling around on AOL, or would you like to talk to someone interesting? Just send them that. Or to say, are you busy, or would you like to have an interesting conversation? Or, I saw your photo personal, and I had a question for you. It's not like, wow, I think you're really hot. I saw your photo, and I had a question for you. Just something to start off light. Don't say, wow, you're really hot. Send me a message, because then you're a loser, like all the other guys, okay? Just something nice. You've got to start off from a place of comfort, okay, with them. One great thing to do that I found is, there's two ways you can approach it if you've seen their photo personal. You could be upfront with them and tell them that you saw the photo, and immediately frame yourself from all the other guys. You can say, look, I saw your photo, and you seemed pretty attractive. I was just wondering, are you only having a bunch of other losers contact you, or have you met any really interesting guys?
Ooh, that's a good one. Say that again.
Have you had a bunch of other losers bother you, or have you met any really interesting guys?
Well, I don't quite like that language,
Yeah,
because
I
other
always-
losers,
yeah,
because
always applies
you're a
to you are,
loser
too.
too.
Okay.
So have you had a bunch
Right.
of losers contact you? Have you met any really interesting guys?
Right.
I like that better.
Now, one of the key things to this, I got to watch the lighting, is that when you type something into these message windows, and I'm not going to get into a lot of the exact wording, you basically, you type a bunch of text in, and then you hit return, and it goes to the next line. Now, we've talked about using embedded commands and transphrases and things like that. What you want to do is to break up what you're saying so that it seems really fascinating. And while they're reading it, they find themselves really drawn in to what's being said on the screen. You see what I'm getting at? And that the fact that you're don't type in 3 paragraphs. This ends up being, I've had women say, there was something about the way you're typing, it seemed really hypnotic or something. Because I type
Typing
in,
is hypnotic.
look, I know, isn't it funny how you see, you meet a lot of people online who send you instant messages and everything. But have you ever met someone who, I don't know, you felt really connected with? Me, I've had that happen once or twice. So
Do you
break
do the
this
pauses
up.
with dots, like dot,
I
dot,
do dots
dot,
at the
dot,
end.
dot?
One of the things that gets difficult just in the sheer logistics of dealing with this, and it's almost like dealing with a one-way radio, where they used to go, you know, you'd say something and say over, and then you'd say something and say over. The reason they say over is so that you know, I'm done talking, I'm shutting up, you can go ahead and speak. The problem with these instant message windows is you're both talking, you don't know if somebody's done yet. So a good way to take care of that is, if you're going to continue at the end of the line, you know, have you ever ... felt really connected with this person, period. And you use that to break stuff up, okay? If you do the ellipses at the end, it shows that you're going to continue. And they will sit there and let you write 20 lines. Sorry, watch your phone. They will sit there and let you write 20 lines. You write 3 dots at the end of the line when you're gonna continue on to the next one. And you can set up things like this. I have gotten in some incredibly deep conversations with women, and I've sat there and gone through 20 lines, and I'll get in caps, "Oh my God. I've never had anyone figure this out before." I'm like, "Oh really? Well, take this class from this guy, Ross Jeffers." And seriously, you will get an incredible response. and you're setting yourself apart from the rest of the guys. But when you embed the commands, set themselves off line by line.
Now, I know what some guys are wondering. They're saying, okay, Dave, all very well and good, nice setup. What specific patterns have you used online? So talk. Have you used specific patterns online?
Yes. I've dealt, especially...
is that what you're wondering?
Yeah. Especially dealing with, like I said, because there's so many weirdos and freakazoids on the internet, you really want to start from a place of comfort and connection. So I find that unless you have specific information otherwise, it's really good to start off with connection patterns and start talking about feeling really connected with people. And how you'll meet a lot of people online, but sometimes you just read someone's profile or see someone's photo personal, and for some reason you just get the idea, like, I don't know, that you feel really connected with this person. Almost like you've met them before, or it's somebody that you knew when you were a child, or an old long-lost friend that you've just found online. And you talk about feeling connected. And now there's different types of connections. Like I have friends that I connect to, that I show with my family or spend time with in a friendly fashion. But then there's some people that you connect to that you just feel that kind of excitement with them at the same time, where you feel safe with them because of that connection, but yet you feel excited. Things like the Discovery Channel and that theme. So it's very good to start off with connection patterns.
But I also see another potential here. I see a potential for doing what Kamal does. Look at their profile and see what they say they really enjoy doing.
Exactly.
Then then type to them, get a little comfort going, and say, I'm curious, what's the most exciting thing to you about rock climbing or crocheting or whatever? And they go, really? I have a friend, let them describe it. You can see what they've written. You have it there in your screen. Do a little cut and paste. Go, my friend Debbie does it. She says, here's a way to make it even better. I don't know if you can imagine it happening just like this, and then describe it. I see great, vast potential to do what Kamal does, because they've already put up a profile telling you what they like to do.
Especially the photo personal ones are longer. There's more details about what their likes and dislikes are, what their activities are. That's what I meant by without any other information, start off with connections. But if you see information in their profiles about what they like and what they enjoy and what they're drawn towards, use that. Ask them about that. That's a fantastic
question over here.
Sometimes in their profiles they'll put their transwords in there.
Yes.
And you can feed them right back, and they don't remember they put those transwords in the
How
profile.
did you know that? Yes.
How did you know that about me?
Now, the other thing is, let me ask you something, Dave. I want to get your thought again. So you do not, did you try at first emailing these women, or did you know right away? No, only if they're on instant message.
I tried emailing a lot with Match.com, okay, and it got very frustrating because it takes a lot of time.
Well, then how do you know when these women are going to be online? You can't sit there on AOL waiting for the instant message to come up. What hours are they typically online?
Typically in the evenings. I find a lot of times most of them are on. Actually, the best time to do this is early in the evening. Why? I mean, they'll be online a lot later, but if you find them online from about 7 to 8, you can find them online, get them on the phone, then get them to a coffee shop that night.
So you're
if
doing
you hook up with them at midnight, it's a little hard. It's 2 a.m. Let's go meet at Denny's.
So you'll be cruising
it doesn't
online.
work.
You're sharking the waters online there between like 7 and 8.
That's probably the best.
Now I noticed something. I sent this chick email, and she actually emailed back. She
Well,
was
you're
like,
Ross
but listen, no, here's the important part. With AOL, you can do something else. You can look at your outgoing mail and see the status. Click status. It'll tell you if it's been read and what time it's been read. And so it said read, 3:14 p.m. So you know, generally speaking, that's when they're online. So that's when you can be online to cruise in for the IM.
The reason I don't tend to do that is their inbox is flooded. You're going to get a lot of spam on AOL, which is junk email. And it just takes a lot of time to write some long thing. I'd rather just try instant messaging them. Then you can pretty much tell in 5 minutes whether they're going to be receptive to talking to you or not.
Spam
if
mail?
not, they just move on. Spam.
Like
Porn, hot teens waiting for you. Click this website.
Like senile, drunken, formal technical writer reveals his secrets for for waiting 6 years to find out if a girl likes you. Okay, go ahead.
But that all works. It works really well. Another frame to use when you're having these discussions is, remember I mentioned about about talking about beauty and attitude. Another is this issue of, I talked out in the hallway about talking about qualities in a person versus quantities and things that you can measure. How you find that when a lot of people write their profiles, they focus on numbers and attributes and facts. Guys write, this is the kind of car I have, this is how tall I am, here's my body fat percentage, I'm a stud, look at my abs. Women will a lot of times write those things down. They're a lot better at writing down qualities than men are. This is an excellent topic of conversation. Say, wow, I was looking through a lot of those ads, and I saw how people were focusing on defining all these things that they're, quote, looking for. And it looked like some list of requirements for an acting job. But I find that a lot of times people focus on things like a hair color or body type. Now, you've already determined that she's not fat because you saw her photos, so you can talk about this.
Do they ever lie in the photos? Do they ever paste photos of someone else?
I haven't encountered that yet. Although that one
What?
looks...
Are they face-only photos?
For the most part, yes.
No, the cute ones will show body, man.
Yeah.
The cute ones will show some body.
But you talk about, the fact that, a lot of these people are asking for numbers and all these specifications. But I find that really, when you really link up with somebody or hook up with somebody that you really enjoy, it's the qualities in that person, the quality in that you see in this person that really draw you to them. When you know that somebody has those qualities in themselves that you just see, and you migrate into that sort of discussion. So you're even if you saw that she is the hottest babyzoid on the planet and you saw her picture, you're saying, look, yes, you're beautiful, I saw your photo, but you're quickly saying, look, all these people are talking about specifications. I'm into more than that, and I'm asking you what makes you up as a person. And are you woman enough to answer that call and to convince me that you're a fascinating
What's the
woman?
frame he's setting?
Right.
An opportunity also. Yes, you have a question with this.
Speaking of numbers, when you're posting your ad in the photo personals, they ask for some numbers. They want weight, income, a whole bunch of various things. Do you put that in, or do you leave a little mystery?
There's some things that you have to put down as a quantity, and I
You
just
don't
put
have
it
to
down.
put down income.
I think they put down income range. You don't have to. You can say you don't want to do it. I did it. Most people don't. It's not a big problem. They ask for your height. I can't claim I'm 6'3" and then show up at Starbucks and be 5'9". It doesn't work. The platforms don't go that high. So. But that's a big challenge. If you frame it in that fashion, it's really something very different from anything they've ever heard. And just using the instant message window is a big key. Now, one of the things is, as soon as possible, you want to get them off of instant messaging and onto the phone. Okay? There's only so much you can do in a little window. So what you want to do is to talk about how nice it is to talk and connect with people and hear their voice. And start talking about the sound of someone's voice. Start chatting about this and say, wow, this is really interesting. We're having a great conversation. Won't it be nice when we're both comfortable enough to actually meet? Or frame it positively in the sense of saying, geez, we're having a really great time. We're having a great time chatting on here. Would you feel comfortable enough to give me a call? And this is the best thing to do. Don't ask for their number. This is a little bit different because it's the internet. Offer to give them yours. Okay? If somebody is not going to call you, they have your phone number. If they think there's any risk in calling you, they are too fearful of life to bother with. Okay? If you've had a fascinating conversation for 15 to 20 minutes, just say, look, wow, we're having a great time. Why don't you give me a call? Because I think we could really connect with something here, as long as you feel comfortable with that. Period. Don't say, I hope this isn't a problem for you. I hope this does not make you feel strange. I hope this doesn't weird you out. Don't put it like that. But I hope you're totally comfortable with this. You are, right? Good. Here's my number. Get them on the phone as soon as you can.
Yes, Quentin.
I've heard differing viewpoints on attempting to embed commands in written text.
Right.
I was curious as to what your opinion on that was.
Well, can I jump in here just
Yeah.
a second? Let me have that, because, by the way, this thing was driving me up a wall. It's bending my glasses. I can't deal with it at the end of the day. So if you're wondering at home why I'm not wearing it, that's why. Let me jump in and I'll let you answer it. When you put this languaging in written form, it helps to use a lot of presuppositions, particularly the presuppositions of awareness. Presuppositions of awareness are things like realize, recognize, remember, recall. Also to use trance words like imagine, suppose, wonder, conjure imagery, okay? So if you say, sometimes a person can realize that the person they're talking to is someone who allows them to imagine what it would be like to really feel that kind of connection. Okay, so you want to use a lot of the presuppositions of awareness, and those are recognize, recall, remember. You can also use words like discover, imagine. They're transwords. Discover, imagine, ponder, wonder. I'm sorry, go ahead. Greg has a question or comment.
That was a good, well, just real quickly about the embedded commands. A lot of guys try to do this and they think, I'm going to be very covert, they'll never get this. And they write, have you ever felt incredibly connected to me? I think it is so, I mean, don't put in all caps. It's so obvious that somebody's going to pick up on it. It's ridiculous. If all you do is simply break your lines, if you make a habit of never writing more than one good line before hitting return or before hitting send, you've got a great vehicle to do that, because you can end up setting off every command as a totally separate line, and it's actually pretty effective and it works pretty well. If you're doing an email or something like that, there's guys that like to put 2 spaces before at the start of an embedded command to sort of set it off. You normally don't see it if you're reading it at speed, but it sets it off enough to the subconscious. I don't really focus on that much. But don't do this, guys. It's like yelling. You know, it'd be like making it type 3 times bigger. They're going to catch it. There was another question?
Yeah, putting in that extra space, is that the way you do it in a hard copy, like a letter?
That's what I do.
Yeah.
You don't need to. There's different debates on it. I tend to put in double spaces a lot. And then I'll randomly put in double spaces throughout so that it doesn't look obvious. Okay, I will write a letter. I'll double space prior to every embedded command or embedded phrase. After that's done, I'll go in and put like 3 or 4 more double spaces just at random. And it helps break it down and slow down their reading as well. And putting in a little more commas than you normally would helps to break up the flow of it too. It helps to pace their reading.
Are there any other techniques in a letter, in a hard copy letter for sending out?
In hard copy letters, the best thing you could probably do is to look through. I haven't personally looked through the material set that's been handed out today. Really look through the materials that are in there. There's probably some examples of letters that are in there that are really good to draw upon and to read. You can read them and use them verbatim. But I would try to look at somebody's profile. Again, look at someone's profile and see what type of person they are, see what interests them. Be honestly, genuinely curious about them as a person and write about that in a process-like manner.
Now,
You get incredible results.
Now, the other thing you can do online is share poems. Go, you know, I'm a writer. In fact, you know what? I'm working on something right now. Hang on, I'll send it to you in like 5 minutes. Now, you already have it pre-written, and then you just paste it in the window. Yeah.
It's amazing that you just said it. I've been doing this for about 6 months without even knowing that you did, like, you've already made a system. And what I found out doing it, most of the conversations started out, and there was a lot of commonality. I was retyping a lot of shit. I'm going, why do I have to retype it? I took it and put it in, I copied the conversation, and I have it as a separate file, and then I broke it up into fragments, and through the paste function, I'm just pasting it. It's like form work. They fucking eat it up, and then
How humanitarian are you? How personal and up close.
It's very personal, exactly. and then I found out that when she started getting specific,
I want
the
you to know I
response.
pasted this text in just for you. I went all the way from the one window to the other. Move the mouse. The whole distance just for you.
You like the stage way too much.
And then I took all your patterns, Ross, and broken those up into fragments. And when I started using your patterns, they were like, it was unbelievable. And they're asking me for the phone number, and they said,
Well, I'll tell you
what part of the city do you live?
You know what I've been experimenting with? I tell them a little story, but I only tell them half of it. And I say, if you want to hear the rest of it, you're going to have to call me, because stories sound so great when they're told in a voice that's just so. Just so what? Right? So I tell them, I go, once upon a time, there was a caterpillar who liked to play Let's Pretend. And when she let her deeper feelings run free, she could imagine the most beautiful faraway lands, visualize the most compelling, lovely scenery. She could hear the most beautiful heavenly music, hear the sound of clear crystal streams running through the mountains. She could scent lovely perfumes. Now one day, as she went barging through the cabbage, she met a moth with glittering golden wings. I don't know if you can imagine a moth with glittering golden wings. Hello, said the moth in his soft, sweet voice. Why are cabbages round and green? I know you're SECRET. You're not really a caterpillar. Inside you, there's a beautiful butterfly that longs to come out and play, but she's shy. I know the magic word that will release the butterfly and allow her to be free. Would you like to know the magic word? Oh yes, said Caterpillar. I've always longed to be a butterfly, to feel the wind lifting me, my wings higher and higher, to feel the sun against my body, to see the beauty of the flowers and the trees. Please tell me the magic word and set me free. And with that, the moth spread his glittering golden wings to their full width, encircled Caterpillar, gently pulled her close to him, and softly whispered the magic word in her ear. Well, that's about all I have time for. If you'd like to know the rest of the story, you should call me. Boom.
Well,
Go
you
ahead.
can frame that. I mean, you're a busy guy. You talk to them for 15, 20 minutes and say, look, this is fascinating. I'm having a great time talking to you. And try to get them on the phone. And if they're like, well, I'm really not comfortable doing that, you say, fine, that's okay. I'm busy. I have some other things I have to do. I have to go. And you'll be amazed how many times the next day they're going to send you an instant message saying, boy, I really do want, why don't you call me? Because really, you don't have time to sit there for hours and hours and hours. Look, nothing is more fascinating than having a woman that you're really connected to, you enjoy their company, and you sit there and share things with her and enjoy that, okay? But the fear mentality of wanting to do 20 emails and to have you show up, have her wearing a hazardous materials suit while you're 100 yards away and you're both, my name is David. You know, if they're that fearful of life, you don't want to deal with it.
One of my commandments.
Rightfully so. There's weirdos out there, and rightfully so. They have some cause for concern. But after a while, if they're just totally fearful of talking to you, let them go. Let them go back to their therapist. Let them go back to their friends.
One of my commandments is, thou shalt not allow a coward to make of thee a coward. Do not allow the cowardly to make of thee a coward.
And the funny thing is, if you get one of those cowardly types connected to you and you do hook up with them and you do use this techniques, you will find that you're going to have somebody stalking you, or very unpleasantly trying to get their way into every aspect of your life and wanting to control you, and their world ends when your relationship.
You have a question there? Yes, sir.
Related to this and also offline stuff, about asking. I know that's one of your rules. I heard it and read it.
Yeah.
And
Can we hear him, or do I need to repeat his question? We can hear him? All right.
how far, I've seen some of the guys who'll come right out and ask. Other guys are more like invite them to offer their communication number.
You're talking about in any context? Let me put it to you this way.
Or even to go to bed.
Yes. What I have found, I'm not kidding. Listen to me, sincerely. I found when I can slip into that psychic state where I have the deepest rapport with them, I know what they're thinking. For example, listen to me. I'm going to record her message and then play it for you guys. I have her message she left for me. I'm going to play it tomorrow over the system. She left a message on my phone. When I'm in that state, I'm so close to who they are that I really don't have to say anything. But you know what? It's too bad we probably won't get a chance to talk without these time pressures and interruptions at the counter. But if we recognize we both really want to, what steps are we going to have to take to make sure that happens? I don't even have to, most of the time I don't even have to get halfway through that. Here's where I live, here's the phone number, here's the whole 9 yards. Deep rapport is so powerful, and it's truly astounding. This sounds like I'm plugging, but I'm really not. I'm telling you the God's honest truth. I learned a lot of this from Tom. Tom Vizini.
Tom is one of the best people.
Tom is incredible with
And he
rapport.
didn't learn it in NLP, he learned it from his mother.
He learned it from modeling his mother, but he's incredible with rapport, getting nonverbal rapport, getting into the person's world. I've learned to do this. I'll tell you a story. Check this out. Speaking of story, I'll tell you a story about a girl named Story. Would you like to hear a story about a girl named Story? I know a girl named Story who's very delectable, very sweet, not just pretty, but has a good energy, very sweet, giving person. Yes, those who met Story would agree. Paul, do you agree? Okay. Well, Story was dating someone at the time, and she said, you know, you're so like Brian in so many ways. I'd really like you to meet him. Let's all go to dinner. I went, ooh, opportunity. I like this. She's already comparing me to him in her mind. So I knew something about Story. What I knew about Story is whenever she thinks of something positive, she sees it to her left, okay? And anything negative is to her right. So I made sure when I went to dinner with her and the boyfriend, he sat to her right. I sat across the table from her to her left. First step. Yes?
How did you determine that?
How did I determine that? Because whenever she would talk about positive things, she'd look over to her left. She'd look over to her left. And I'd notice she's looking over there. Every time she talked about positive stuff, she'd even turn her head and look over there. When she talked about negative stuff, she'd look to her right. You get it? Does that feel right to you? So anyway, we go out to dinner, and I do something Tom taught called, well, he'll teach you.
It's called smurfing.
It's called smurfing.
Talk about it in the next, you might talk about it in the next chat. We're going to do another chat.
Okay, well, let me just very briefly. Okay, what I did is what I've done lately is I surrounded her with a golden bubble. I put her and me inside this golden bubble.
I don't know if you want you explaining exactly how it's done.
Well, just give me, I'll give a little bit of it. I put, basically what I did is I included me and her in a golden bubble, and I excluded him. He was not in the golden bubble, okay? And so I was talking.
This is in his mind, guys. He didn't get out there with a hammer and nails and
Yeah.
build a big box.
I won't tell you the rest of what I did. I'll give away half of it. The rest of it I won't tell you. But anyway, Story said to me, we were talking, she's dumped him now. She broke up with him. And she said, you know, I said, you know, Story, I did something at that dinner. And anyone who was at that dinner would have thought you were with me instead of with him, because you were totally cold to him. And she said, what did you do? I told her what I did. She said, you know, he knew you were doing something, because after dinner, he said, he's doing something. I don't know what it is, but I felt like I was totally cut off from you guys. But what was he doing? She didn't know, because I didn't tell her at the time. So one of the things I do to get that deep rapport is like surround them with a golden bubble. When you're in that kind of deep rapport, they will offer it all to you. There's very little you have to do. I say don't ask, because I think there are better ways to go about doing things. You can say, one of the things, I'll take it away from them. I'll go, you know, we've had a great time talking, and it's too bad we'll probably never get a chance to talk again, you know, without time pressures and interruptions. But if we recognize we both really want to, and I'll nod my head, if we recognize we both really want to, what steps will we have to take to make sure that happens? She may say, let's go home right now. I'm off work in 2 hours. Meet me back here. Pick me up. Wrap up with AOL.
Well, one quick thing. The fact that you're,
Microphone up.
the fact that you are interesting enough and you have enough of a life that you're willing to walk away and you're not going to beg or plead or ask is so powerful. It's not putting them in their place. It's not demeaning her. It's just saying, look, what you're saying is, I'm here by choice. I'm interesting enough. Do you want to join in on the fun? Do you want to be a part of the party? That's very different from being one of the guys saying, oh, please give me your phone number. It's a whole different ballgame. But anyway, the nice thing about AOL is go ahead and try it. You can try it from your own home. You can be sitting there when the laundry needs to be done. You're wearing ratty shorts. You don't feel like going out. You look like hell. You're hungover or whatever. But it's a very non-threatening way to start using some of these skills, and you may find that you may meet some very interesting
There's some
women and have
pretty
some
cool
very
women out there.
exciting, yeah, I'm not going to say them in front of the room, but I've had some interesting experiences as a result of it. So go ahead and give it a try.
Mac Riddick uses AOL. Mac,
He's in there all the time.
really?
All
What's
the time.
his
He's
code?
constant-
Java?
I'll send it to you. It's like mrid something.
Okay.
MRID and then
Some number or something.
Mrid
He's in there all the time,
Okay,
logging
yeah.
constantly. And
He has
this guy
women
sounds
flying
like,
him out, or
sounds
flying
like
him to
Barry
see.
White. He's got this real deep voice. He gets him off AOL and on the phone as fast as possible. He's a master. But give it a try. It's a lot of fun.
Give Riker a big hand. In terms of setting frames and changing frames, I want to show you how to do this with answering machines. This is the best thing I've ever come up with. It's in the newsletter, but I want to go through it with you nonetheless, okay?
Okay.
How many people have tried this method I've described in the newsletter? Anybody try it yet? Did it work for you?
No, I haven't rehearsed enough to see how
Okay.
it came out.
What month is it, Rob?
This current one, the one that, did you, Yates, did they get the new newsletter? Did everyone get it? It's the most current issue. You're looking at me like I'm speaking Greek.
Me?
Yeah.
I was just, are you talking about the phone message? Is that-
Yeah.
Okay, because I missed the first.
Yeah.
Actually, I tried that and I didn't get a response.
How did you do it? See, here's the thing. I had someone rehearse it over the phone with me. He did it totally wrong. The way to rehearse this properly is to first write out what you're really saying. What are you really saying? Let's do a little exercise. Let's do explicit and implicit message, okay? The implicit message in this phone thing we're going to do is, hey, I'm busy. I'm not going to beg for your attention. If you know what's good for you, you'll call me back. Okay? You need to say it with that tonality. Hey, I'm busy. I'm not going to beg for your attention. If you're smart and you're a sharp woman, you'll recognize the value I have to offer. You'll call me right back. That's what you're really saying. That's what you're implying. That's the unspoken message. Hold on, wait. So let's talk about the spoken and the unspoken message. Now, women are masters of this kind of communication. They are masters of saying one thing that contains within it an embedded unspoken message that has the real meaning. So, for example, if the spoken message is, I have to get up early tomorrow, what's the unspoken message? We're not going to have sex tonight. We're not going to get it. Right?
And I want you to leave.
Right? What's that?
I'm finished and I want you to leave.
Yeah, right, exactly, okay. If the spoken message is, I really have to get my head together, what's the unspoken message? Get lost, okay? If the spoken message is, it's not you, it's me, what's the spoken? What's the it's you. If the spoken message is, an old boyfriend just came back to town, what's the unspoken message? You're the old boyfriend now. You're not, I'm not interested, you get out of here. You're out of here. You never were in, okay? If the spoken message is, I'm reconsidering what relationships mean to me right now, what's the unspoken message? You're not going to get any, and you're still going to buy me things. They're laughing back there because they know it's right. Okay, so if you really want to get this phone message thing right, rehearse the unspoken message. The unspoken message of this phone thing in the newsletter, you know what I'm talking about?
You gave it to us in Cancun, yeah.
Yeah. No, I just wrote it.
That's why I was looking at you, because I was thinking, is he referring to the one that you
I may have given it to you in Cancun, but it's also in the newsletter. It goes like this. All right. So, yes, sir.
Is it the beauty is common phone message?
Yeah, that one.
Ria, you gave us that in Cancun.
Okay. Well, a lot of people weren't in Cancun.
Right.
So, all right. The unspoken message is the following: I'm busy. I don't have time for stupid phone games. If you're smart and you're smart enough to see what I have to offer, you'll call me back right away. That's the message you're unspeaking, okay? Here's the way the message is actually spoken. You go, this is so-and-so, whatever your name is. This is Dave. I thought I'd give it one last shot at getting a chance to talk. Now, what does that imply? I'm going to let you answer. Someone who's a new student, who's never been to a seminar before, what does that imply when you say,
That means if I don't hear from you, you're done, I'm out of here.
right, if I don't hear from you, you're done, I'm out of here. Okay, I thought I'd give it one last shot at getting a chance to talk. I've learned a lesson living in LA my whole life. What's the purpose or the effect of saying that? Someone who doesn't know this material, but is understanding it. I've learned a lesson living in LA my whole life. Now, if you don't live in LA, obviously you don't say that, but wherever you live. What's the purpose or the effect of saying that? Someone who's new to this material. You've already answered. Someone other than him. Come on.
Well, begs the question, what lesson?
I know.
Yeah, exactly. What lesson? So it creates curiosity. Okay? Beauty is common. Now, why didn't I say beautiful women are common? Someone tell me. Someone who's a new student. Why don't I? Who's new to the seminar? Has never been to a seminar before. Why don't I say beauty? Huh?
It's vague.
What? Which is vague? Saying beautiful women are common or beauty is common?
Beauty is common.
That's right. It's more vague. And if you say beautiful women are common, she'll think he's an arrogant putz. But beauty is common is the kind of thing a parent tells a little girl. It's also phrased. A parent is not going to say to a beautiful little girl, "Beautiful women are common." A parent, the mom or the grandma, is like to say, "Beauty is common." So it's being phrased parentally too. Beauty is common, but people with a great attitude. Now, which people? What people? It's vague. Do I mean her? Do I mean me? Or do I mean both of us? People with a great attitude a great energy, a great outlook on life are rare. Now that's really cool. That is both ambiguous, vague, and it's also a truism. If you live in a big city, it is rare. Who lives in a big city? Raise your hand. Okay? Is it not true that in a big city it's rare to meet people with a great energy, a great outlook, a great attitude on life? True or false? Is that true? Yeah, it is true. So it's a truism. Are rare, and they're worth working to get to know. Worth working to get to know in what way? It's all vague. It's all vague puffery. And I think that's an understanding that goes both ways. Well, how specifically does it go both ways? No, it's not to encourage bisexuality. Why would you laugh? Why are you laughing?
It's just a common thing.
It's all vague.
It goes both ways.
What does that mean? Does that mean it goes in your ass and in your ears? And what does it mean? It's vague. This is all vague puffery. Okay? So that's an understanding that goes both ways. What in the hell does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. What does it mean to be colorblind and cone deaf? Right? So if you can find your own reasons to call me. Now what does that mean? Find your own reasons to call me. Why did I say that? Why didn't I say, so if you want to call me?
Embedded commands. We don't want to.
Maybe they won't want to, but find your own reasons to call me. That means make sense of this message in such a way that you pick up the phone. And your proof that you made sense of it is the action that you picked up the phone. If you don't pick up the phone, then you have no proof that you made sense of it, and you'll just remain confused. You get it? My number is. This is an example of setting frames through being.
Is the problem with visualizing and just doing all those things to get your goals is if you don't do it from the properly altered state of consciousness, you're still doing it from a place of conditioned consciousness. If you stop and think about all the frames that you were carrying with you before you came in this weekend, when it comes to dealing with women and what you thought you needed for success, look at how that frame limited not just what you could do, but even the ways you could think about the situation. If you can control the frame, then you can control what goes on inside of the frame. Okay? So, you need to create a frame for yourselves inside where you believe that anything is possible, and only then do you begin to request what you want from the universe. It needs to be done with some precision.
Okay, there's one more step necessary that will allow you to truly get what we're going to be doing today. That is, we're going to be doing the experiment, the imagination experiment, one more time with a critical difference. So I want you to either open or close your eyes, whichever works for best for you. I want you to imagine that individual inside the circle that embodies the attributes, attitudes, characteristics, and behaviors that you truly desire. Bring that image to life. See them move through their day. And this time, I want you to step into that circle, and as you do so, morph the image into yourself. So you begin to see yourself moving through the day, embodying the characteristics, the attitudes, the beliefs and behaviors. Feel how your muscles will feel. Hear what you'll hear. See through the new eyes. See the opportunities appearing all around you. And imagine now the thoughts that must run through your head as you move towards personal success and you achieve your goal. Because your unconscious only needs simple, clear instructions. And as you practice imagining how it will be, your unconscious will provide the map, all the things that must become true in order for you to reach your goal. Now, I don't want you to feel too good, too fast. So in a moment, you can just open your eyes and return to the room. Relaxed, confident, knowing that this, the first day of the rest of your life, is giving you all you need to get where you want to go. Now, come on back to the room.
question. I wouldn't put it that way. Some of you are still sitting in essentially the same place. So you get up and go on that side. I'm serious. Because it goes into the same place in your head. All right, so
I've been sitting over there before.
on this side, or you can
Simple,
go, or
clear
you're welcome to leave
instructions.
if you want. Yeah, you switch places with him. Okay. Come on up and share, Brother Cliff. Come on up.
Testify.
Testify.
Come on up, brother.
Come on up, Brother Cliff. Raise your hands and say, "How to glory, Brother Cliff."
Thank you.
Thank you. Testify, Brother Cliff.
Well, we went out to a place called Rick's. We went out to a place called Rick's last night, and
Rick's in Santa.
mostly because we spent some time with Brother Rick, who has some very interesting things to show to everybody. And as far as myself, I mean, I talked to a few women. I went up to a couple. I told them I thought they were absolutely stunning, and I'd like to find out if they're as amazing on the inside as they are on the outside.
What was their response?
They were pretty friendly, but like they were like one of them, for example. She talked to me for a few seconds, and she turned away. It was very quick. So I waited till she calmed down with her friend that she was talking to, and I says, "Boy, you're not very friendly, are you?" And she said, "Oh, I'm very friendly. She said, I just had a really terrible day today, and I just really can't. It's not a day for me to talk to somebody." So that went nowhere. And I just talked to a few women. Really, nothing particularly special really happened, but I think I learned a few things in any event.
Okay. So, but overall, what were the women's responses to what you were doing?
Well, fairly positive in the beginning, and then it just sort of tapers off, typically.
Now, there's a piece here that's missing, and the piece that's missing is, did you do anything to prepare yourself before you went into that place? Did you do any exercises to build up your own state?
No.
Okay, no. All right. So, there's something you guys have to get. This is a rule I've said time and time and time again. I'm going to say it again. Don't write it down. It's an easy, simple rule to comprehend and understand, okay? Unlike what they're doing over there, repetition isn't necessarily the mother of skill. Just get this rule. The rule is this. If you want a result, you've got to rehearse it, okay? Particularly if it's contrary to what you've been doing for year after year after year. Does this make sense? Okay. If you want a result, you have to, out loud, please. Let's make as much noise as they are, okay? Rehearse it. Now, you can go ahead and have a seat. Give me a hand. Look, this just makes sense. That was Chick Corea and his Casio organ. We only have $3 on the tote board. 6, 6, 6. All right. Good morning and hallelujah. Welcome to Fornicators Anonymous. Do we have any fornicators? Do we have any masturbators? Do we have any homosexuals? Because the only thing God hates worse than a queer is a lesbian. Now, your roommate may not know what you're doing when you sneak into the bathroom with that copy of Spank the Monkey. But God is watching. God knows you're choking the chicken. You're slamming the ham. You're tugging the tube. You're spilling the seed on the ground. And as each one of those little spermlets meets its death on the cold bathroom tile, that is another nail in the hands of our Savior. So, friends, take those hands, and instead of putting them in the crotch, raise them in the air. What did I say? I said, raise them in the air. I said, praise Sargy. Say, I want to get some. Say, oh Lord.
I know you are more powerful than Poontang. I know you can help me control those unnatural urges. And I'm only going to pay attention to the word of Ross. And anything that goes beyond that partition is a delusion, an illusion, a hallucination. Oh, give me the goddamn thing, I'll wear it. Just set it up so it's comfortable. All right. All right, now that we're pumped up. Now, if you want to know a great example, I'll wear the thing, but let's get it comfortable for me. Just after I take a break. I'm on a roll here, so wait. Now, just as an example that hypnosis is everywhere and anywhere, during the break, lean your ear over there and listen to these guys work. They're good. They know how to alter the pace. They know how to get quiet. They know how to get loud. They know how to draw your attention in. They know how to use the music. I once watched Robert Schuller, the Crystal Cathedral guy. Now this guy, he's good. He's real good. You seen him? He starts out in a nice tonality. He says, there was once a man. So what is he doing? There was once a man. What is that like? There was once a man. Now this man had everything. He had a very nice job. He had a lovely wife. He had friends, he had cars, he had everything the world said would be wonderful. Now one day this man went into work, and for no reason his boss called him on the carpet, said, you're fired. Get out of here. And I'm going to see to it that you never work again. And the man thought, oh, but I still have many wonderful things. I have money, I have cash, I have my car, I have my lovely wife, my beautiful home, and my friends. So it's not really a problem. I don't need to rely on anything but what I already have. So that man got into his car. And as he pulled into traffic, bam! He was hit by a drunk driver and the car was totaled. And the man thought, oh my God. It turns out this guy doesn't have insurance, and now my car's been totaled, I've lost my job, but at least I have my lovely wife, my home, and my friends. I don't need anything up there. I don't believe in the supernatural. I'll just get in the bus and bus it home. So he went home, and he opened the door, and he heard noises coming from the bedroom. He heard, ooh, and he thought, no, it can't be, please, no. And he flung open the door, and there was his wife in bed with his best friend. And now the man couldn't take it anymore. His world had been shattered. He had lost his job, his money, his car, his lovely wife. His best friend was in bed betraying him. And he said to his wife, how could you do this to me? You are my rock, my foundation, and you are in bed with my best friend. And his wife said, well, you know, sometimes you just don't pay attention to anything but the worldly desires, and you know you have to act on them. Now the man began to feel his own heart stirring. The man began to feel crushed. And then he just began to laugh. He couldn't take it anymore. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry at his situation, so he began to laugh, that laugh of desperation. You know what it's like to feel that, friends? To feel your world has been ripped away from you? And then he turned and he looked at his best friend and he said, as for you, bad dog, get outside, get outside. Now, as best we can, I thought what we do this morning is help you continue to build your own state. Because when you move through the world, it's what you take into the transaction that determines what you're going to get. If you take in the right thing and set the right frame, chances are you're going to get the results you want. And even if you don't, you've learned something. I know there are many of you here who still don't have quite the attitude that I really think you need to make this work. Now, in particular, let me say, there are a couple of people here who already have mastery of something. Now, having mastery of something can feel really good. It's nice to be able to walk through the world and feel powerful, feel that you've got something going for yourself, feel that you know how to do something. The problem with that attitude is it can get in the way of the beginner mentality. It can get in the way of the willingness, the true willingness to get out there and fuck it up. What I have learned because I have the willingness to fuck it up. And guess what? When things are working too well, I think of a new way to do things. I call Mark up and go, what do you think? You think this is going to work? And Mark go, maybe, maybe not. Let's go try it. I am continually looking for new ways to do things. When we had people up here, and some of them, remember what I did? I called people up. I said, who's not getting it? Remember that? Did I look angry that people weren't getting it? What was your impression of the way I was responding to that? What do you think I was feeling up here?
I think
I felt like you were feeling supportive.
Well, beyond that, I was feeling challenged. I thought, this is cool. When something isn't working, listen to me. When something isn't working, it means you're right on the edge of a discovery. You're right on the very edge of where you need to be going. That's why when someone calls and says it didn't work, I get excited. I go, okay, what are they not doing that they need to do to really get it? Now, I get this attitude from my parents. By the way, my dad and my two brothers will probably be showing up, so we can all razz them when they come in. My brother's constantly asking me, even though he's a born-again Christian, he's asking me, how can I get my wife to blow me? I go, pray to Jesus. Get on your knees. So anyway, the willingness to stumble, the willingness to fuck it up, and to be eager to do it, to go out there and go, let's just see what fucking works, is a very important part of this. Now, I know a lot of you are still really serious. You know, really, really serious about this. I've got to get it right, Ross. I've been soft and dry for too many years, Ross. It's been a desert for me, Ross. You don't know what it's like. Even my left hand is rejecting me. My right hand told me it doesn't do that on the third date. Ross, it's terrible. I don't know what to do. I'm telling you, you just have to be willing. You really have to be willing to fuck it up and make mistakes. If you don't fuck it up and make mistakes, you ain't going to go anywhere. You find more answers through movement than through meditation. Now, the number one problem some of you are going to have is being serious about this. Now, for those of you who are serious people, I want you to think a minute about this. I want this question to be nagging at you all day long, like a hemorrhoid that won't go away. All right? And the question I want you serious people to ask yourself is, what's the difference between being thorough and being serious? What is the difference between being thorough and serious? Is it possible to be thorough with a smile and a sense of playfulness? That's a question you really need to begin to consider on a lot of different levels. See, let me tell you a story. I've told this story before, but I like to tell it again and again. Once upon a time, we were doing a seminar in Boston, and I was dating a diminutive, short little lady at the time, and she had never been to New York City. So in her own fantabulous and inimitable way, she had got a commitment from me to take her to New York City. Now, when this person gets a promise from you, you just don't want to break the promise, so there's consequences. Life could be hell. Okay, so I decided we're going to get on the train. I thought it'd be fun to ride the train from Boston to New York, because I love trains. I figured it'd be cool. So we buy our tickets, we get on the train, and it's obviously a commuter train. Now, something very interesting was going on in that train. As we boarded the train, people, as soon as they got their seats, began to bury their faces in things. They were business people, men and women. You could tell they were dressed for the office, and they were going through the reports. Some people had their laptops open. They were looking at their various graphical displays. People were reading reports. Some people were reading the Wall Street Journal. There were students, and they had textbooks of various different kinds. Some were reading the textbooks, some were underlining, some were taking notes. But I noticed every single person on that train had their face buried in something other than what was going on, with a very important exception. In the bench or seat in front of us were two very special passengers. A young mother, I don't think she was older than her mid-20s, and her little daughter. Now, I don't know where they were going. To this day, I still don't know. But obviously, the daughter was very excited about the trip. Very excited. She was dressed up in her little velvet frilly dress. She had her hair just so. It had to be her favorite ribbon. It was just a nice, beautiful red ribbon. I think it was a silk red ribbon. The kid was just so excited. And she kept saying a magic mantra over and over and over again. An incredible mantra. The mantra was, I want to see, let me have the window, let me have the window, I want to see, I want to see. And I thought, well, that's cool. Every other human being in the goddamn thing is, every other human being is, and God spoke in a still small voice. Every other human being had their face buried in something other than what was going on. And so the mother let the kid have the window, and from the moment that train pulled out, the kid did not take her face away from the window. Every place we would slow down and pick up passengers, she would say, "What's this? What's that?" That was not just a piece of glass. That was a doorway into wonder. The child was able to look through that piece of glass and wonder at everything she saw. And because she wondered at everything she saw everything. Instead of the people on that train, the adults who only saw what they brought with them already. She was able to see new things and see them in an interesting and delightful way. I thought that was pretty fucking cool. Now, as we got off the train and we said goodbye to the little kid, I noticed something else. That I walked by the engineering compartment, and I thought to myself, you know, that little kid was delightful, but I sure as hell am glad, very glad, that she was not running the engineering. Okay, I don't want a kid going, "What's this? What's that? What does this switch do?" I want an engineer up there. And I think when we can take the wonder of a child with the practical ability of an engineer and bring them both together, that's the ideal state. You see, there are all kinds of trains, and I really do love trains. There are troop trains, there are freight trains of various different kinds, there are commuter trains, and in Japan, they have a very interesting kind of train called a bullet train. Anyone ever been to Japan? Anyone ever ride a bullet train? Nice, smooth ride, isn't it? No friction. You can't even tell you're moving. Now, these things really book. I don't know, they can do like 150? 150, 160. They're working on ones that'll do like 300. The Japanese have gotten a very bad rap. And the very bad rap that the Japanese have gotten is they've been called imitators. Okay? And I don't think that's really fair. What the Japanese do is they take the best of what works in every field and they bring it all together and they throw everything else away. And I don't think that's imitation. I think that's innovation in a very creative way. Now, my favorite now the interesting thing about bullet trains is this. Bullet trains give you a smooth ride. They're 3 times as fast as the ordinary train. Now, how do they work? They don't really run on the track. They are magnetically levitated off the track. Now, to get something that big and give it a smooth ride, how much do you think it needs to be levitated off the track? A foot? Half a foot? 6 inches? How much? Luke, you're a physicist. Oak, you're a physicist. How much does it have to be levitated? 1,000th of an inch. 1,000th of an inch difference in perspective makes that much difference in smooth ride and a lack of friction in speed. Now, the most interesting train that I can think of, the most powerful and important train of the world, is a train of thought. Because the train of thought will determine where you wind up. So if your train of thought isn't working for you, it's time to pull the switch and jump onto a new track. All right? Does that make sense? Now, think about their model of the world. I think, do they really think God wants to listen to that? Some guy who sounds like a toad in a bag doing the same thing over and over and over again. But functionally, hypnotically, there's a purpose to what's going on over there. What is the functional, hypnotic purpose of having people saying and doing the same sound over and over and over again? What does it do? It puts them in an altered state. Absolutely right. What are some other examples of this? Marching up and down in the military. This is a functional lesson in hypnosis. What does the military make you do? They make you do the same action over and over and over again. What does the dating game do? It conditions you to the same actions and bullshit. I'm sorry, I'm busy washing my hair. I'm sorry, I'm busy washing my hair. I don't do that on the first date. I don't do that on the first date. Till you drop into the hypnotic response of, yes, I agree. Now I have brought my monster hypno ball. My monster hypno ball, we're going to, for all those of you who still have any limitations, we're going to remove them right now. So for those of you who still think you can't do this material, I want you to watch the, who thinks they still can't do it? Seriously. Seriously, who's got a problem with the material, thinks maybe they can and maybe they can't? I'm going to, come on up here, sir. And you come on up here. We're going to do a double hypno ball induction. Double hypno ball. You want to pull this chair up so it's even with that one? Now, okay. Sit down. Don't be afraid. Afraid. Don't be afraid of hypnosis. And whenever you want to be afraid again, okay, watch the ball. Ready? Here it goes. Bam! You're healed. Bam, you're healed. Sit down. It's a miracle. Or I could do it Atlanta style. No. Okay, I'm going to put all the learnings in the ball and install it in you. Swallow the ball. Well, what I wanted to do this morning is do some things to build your state, but due to the noise over there, I think what we'll do is study some language patterns, and we'll do the state building when the noise is gone. So we'll just flex around it. Good. Okay, good morning, class. Now, I know some of you still have to have some work done with you, and we're going to be pulling you up throughout the day. We're not going to do like hot seats end over end. We're just going to pull you up as I see it's necessary. Since this noise is going on, and since what I teach is to be flexible, I'm going to flex the lesson plan. And this morning we're going to deal with some more advanced language patterns. I may even teach some of the forbidden patterns on the list that we don't teach on the list. We're going to teach some of the forbidden stuff, the advanced stuff. Yes. Gemini, yeah. Why not? I'll teach you that, yeah. Is Tony coming? I don't know if Tony's going to come or not. Has anyone talked to Tony Blake? If not, I'll do some stuff on strippers. Me and Eben and Rick will do some stuff on strippers, all right? But I'm going to pick on you later, too, because you need to have your brain fucked with, so I'm the man. Is this mine? Okay. Is it? Do you think your brain's already fucked? Okay. What was your name again? Matthew. Let me ask you a question, Matthew. When you stop and think about something you did 5 years ago. Okay? As you think of that thing you were doing 5 years ago, that's not worship, that's howling. When you think of the thing you did 5 years ago, point to where subjectively you seem to see the image.
I was seeing it just right in front of
Right there. Okay, put my hand where it is.
It was actually further away.
There?
Back. Down. Right about there. Yeah.
Okay. So that's something you did 5 years ago? Okay, think of something you were doing an hour before you sat down in the room today. Where do you see that? Oh, no wonder this guy has trouble learning or seeing. All right, think of something you'll be doing a year from now. Where is that?
It seemed like over by where Scott and Marcus are.
That's a year? Where put my hand where should my hand be in? Oh, wow. So
right in line with his past.
Wow, no wonder I have an intuition about you. My intuition is you have a lot of trouble believing that you can really be different with this material. You don't doubt the material, but I have a sense you have some doubt as to whether you can really apply it in your future and make it work for you.
To a degree.
To a degree?
Yeah, I do.
That's a yes.
Listen. Come up here for a minute. I want to train you guys to get curious about language. Really listen to what he says. Can I have the handheld just for a minute?
Certainly.
Okay. So I had asked Matthew if he really believes he can apply this material. Give the answer you were just giving. Go ahead.
I believe I can apply it. It's a question of degrees. Sometimes I think this may take a long time. This may be very difficult. This may be difficult for me to...
Listen to his language. This may take a long time. This may be very difficult. It may take a long time for me to what?
It may take... Actually, I didn't phrase that right. It may take... I have, like we were talking about, the way I tend to... remember what we were talking about the energy? Mine goes from here up to my head, and then... And you were saying that it was like I was like being predatory and in my way of viewing women.
Listen to his language. Listen to his presuppositions.
That's something that needs...
The energy goes up there. When he says the energy goes up there, what does that presuppose about who's in control? Okay. Listen, I want to teach you something. I want to teach you guys how to develop a deep and genuine curiosity about all people, male, female, and anything in between. And the way you do that is to learn to listen and to ask the question, what is this person's languaging telling me about their beliefs? Their beliefs about the following things. Who is in control? Whether they're at cause or whether they're at effect. Their beliefs about what the world is like, who they are,
what their capabilities are. Because beliefs reflect and control internal structure, and internal structure in turn affects beliefs. One of the things I asked Matthew is, the thing about Matthew is, in order to see his future, he has to look through his past first. I want you guys to look up here for a minute and stop writing. We'll deal as much time. I'll repeat all of this and be thorough. This is very important to learn to be genuinely curious about people on a deep level. You need to understand what those deep levels are. In order to be genuinely curious about people on a deep level, you need to understand what those deep levels are. People tend to organize themselves internally, whether they know it or not. Even the dumbest to the brightest do this, based on their beliefs about who they are, what they can do, who's in control, who is responsible for what happens to them. Okay? There are certain belief systems in the world that revolve around something called fatalism. There are certain aspects of, there's a large component of the Muslim religion that revolves around, I'm not making fun of any religions, Iris, honestly, really, that revolves around fatalism. I was watching King Hussein of Jordan on TV talking about his illness, and he said, I'm a fatalist. I've always been a fatalist. I believe when God wants to take you, he's going to take you. Now, Anwar Sadat, who I thought was a great leader, I remember hearing him say the exact thing to Barbara Walters. She said, Mr. Sadat, aren't you afraid of assassins? He said, no, I'm a fatalist. You know, I believe if God wants to take you, you won't live a second longer. And if God doesn't want to take you, all the people in the world are not going to be able to take you out of God's world. Fatalism. Now, Americans have their own fatalism. It's called victimhood. I'm not being funny. I'm being completely serious here. This is very important. Listen to me. We're taught more and more in this country that we are not responsible. To find some way in which we are victimized. Okay, I'm a Siamese twin lesbian vampire who's gravitationally challenged, and you know, I'm a gravitationally challenged Siamese twin lesbian vampire, so I'm entitled to more government handouts, and I can be ruder and break the law. The thing in this country, it's getting to the point where in Western civilization, the more you've been put upon, the more rude you're allowed to be, and you don't have to follow common courtesy, decency, whatever. So people have this in their own personal story, their own personal mythos. They explain why they're in certain situations or how they got there. It may not be verbally and explicit. For example, you may say, well, the reason I'm not successful with women is I'm short. That's your mythology. That's your tale, and it appears real to you. But these kind of things come out in the languaging. There's someone in the room, this gentleman here, what's your name again, Evan? Evan had a belief when he came in here that it was either or, that you couldn't have things on a gradient. We're going to keep working with that. I'm going to shift him real big before we're over. So people have all sorts of things in their head, and it comes out in their language. So repeat again what you said. You said that you're not sure, say your language about your belief that you can get the material.
I just had some doubts about how I look at it like you were saying earlier. I take it very it very seriously, and I look at it as a task, and that makes it not as fun as it should be.
Stop. When he said I look at it as a task, he did this. I look at it as a task. Where is he pointing? He's pointing into his past, because the way he organizes himself is his past is here, his past is here, his past is here, and then his future is here. So in order to see his future, he has to look through the past of all the times he fucked it up with women and had limitations and couldn't get anywhere. Now I'm going to do something very tricky. I'm going to grab hold of your past, I'm going to swing it around, I'm going to put it in back of you. Don't look. See, he really wants to see it. It's all in back of you. So now there's nothing between you and your future but where you want to go. And notice what it's like is between you and your future, that blank space is there. Now, blank spaces can be scary. Blank spaces can be chasms you fall into, or they can be those spaces in my little nephew's mouth where the new growth can begin to move. Now, I'm not sure if you just close your eyes, take a deep breath, feel my hand on your back and the microphone in your hand, me. Any limitations, I'll take them from you. Because that space is there for you to fill in. You could fill them in with a spirit of, I've got to get this right. Or you could giggle. Look through the window of wonder. Step into that little girl who's on the train. Look through the window of wonder at what you could have. And what if every morning, whether you realize it or not, and even if you think it's not happening, that just means it's happening even stronger and more irresistibly so. There was a voice of wonder in your head, the voice of the caterpillar waiting to become the butterfly, wondering what the magic word from that story was, and I'm going to whisper it to you, and don't repeat it to anyone, the magic word. Now, as you just look into your future, you're not sure what you'd like to put in there. You're not sure how you'd like to design yourself. You're not sure what can begin to just put itself in there. Maybe you can dream a dream where the dream puts things in there. Now, your past is behind you, and that's okay, because sometimes you want to learn from the past. If there are lessons in the past, what can happen is those lessons, you ever see a piece of toast pop out of a toaster? It can pop up off that line, move over here to the side, keep your eyes closed. You can just turn your head to the side, glance at that lesson, learn something from it, turn and look towards the future, and carry the knowledge only into the future, leaving any of the feelings back behind you. Now, if you could stop and think, I want you to close your eyes and remember a time when you were playful as a kid. It's not anything other than remembering what that was like. I remember I got the simplest pleasures when I was a little kid. I didn't need my expensive toys, my artwork, my paintings, any of the doodads and knickknacks we distract ourselves with. You know what I did when I was a little kid? We played in the sprinklers. We'd turn on the sprinklers in the summertime and go running through the water. We'd pretend wild animals were chasing us. Occasionally a wild, vicious animal would be chasing us. It was called Mom, because we were trampling her dichondra lawn. She had a perfect dichondra lawn. Everyone else in the neighborhood had weeds. My mother had her lawn. She loved that lawn. And we were very destructive towards the lawn. It was fun to dig our toes in the dichondra. Dichondra grass feels so good between the toes. You can even taste this. It's sweet to eat as well. Dichondra's great. So anyway, we would play in the sprinklers, and we didn't have a lot of money. There were 6 kids being raised, and my dad worked 3 jobs. So we would find things to play with. We would take Coke bottles. We would fill them with little watercolor, you know, just food coloring, and put water in. There would be different colored liquids. They'd be magic potions that we would pour on our bicycles. And when we poured them on our bicycles, the bikes would rust. But we thought the magic potion would take us to strange and different worlds. You could remember what it's like to be a kid and take the wonder of a kid and realize that the wonder of a child might take you further than the seriousness of an adult. Because when you see, the thing is this, is what you bring forward is what you get. And I know in the past, which was the past, you were bringing things forward. But now what you used to bring forward is left behind you, so you can create what you bring forward. Do you understand? Because sometimes in the future, what used to be now is going to be then. Then you can understand that now is the time to decide what you want to bring forward. Do you understand? You do? I thought that was nonsense. It didn't make much sense to me. So I want you to walk back into your chair. But wait a minute, let me ask you something. Now, open your eyes. Now, I want you to think of something you did 3 years ago. And when you see that image of what you did 3 years ago, where is it? Yeah. Now think of something you'll be doing 3 years from now. Where is it? How much easier is it to see it and get a sense it could be real?
It doesn't seem as cluttered up now. It's like there's a blank space between me and it as opposed to a bunch of other...
Right. Well, if you were to ask these clowns over there, how did God create the universe? He created the universe out of what? What did God create the universe out of?
I'm not really familiar with the mythology. I don't know.
Anyone? What did he create? Nothing. God created the universe out of nothing. Nothing. No thing. Now, there's something else hidden in that word. No thing doesn't mean it was totally empty. It means everything was processed. What's the difference between a thing and a process? Do you know?
Potentiality?
Well, what is a thing? This is a thing. You can put it in a wheelbarrow. What's a process? Learning is a process, isn't it? So learning can come out of the void. All right, so go ahead and have a seat. Now, the interesting thing is to listen. I want you to learn to listen to people. And what does their languaging say about who they believe they are? What they believe is possible for them in the world? What meaning do they attach to failure? What meaning to... I don't even like that word. I don't believe in the word. Okay?